Researchers around the world are developing more than 155 vaccines against the coronavirus, and 23 vaccines are in human trials. Vaccines typically require years of research and testing before reaching the clinic, but scientists are racing to produce a safe and effective vaccine by next year. Work began in January with the deciphering of the SARS-CoV-2 genome. The first vaccine safety trials in humans started in March, but the road ahead remains uncertain. Some trials will fail, and others may end without a clear result, but a few may succeed in stimulating the immune system to produce effective antibodies against the virus. Here is the status of all the vaccines that have reached trials in humans, along with a selection of promising vaccines still being tested in cells or animals. Preclinical testing. Scientists give the vaccine to animals such as mice or monkeys to see if it produces an immune response. Phase I safety trials. Scientists give the vaccine to a small number of people to test safety and dosage as well as to confirm that it stimulates the immune system. Phase II expanded trials. Scientists give the vaccine to hundreds of people split into groups, such as children and the elderly, to see if the vaccine acts differently in them. These trials further test the vaccine's safety and ability to stimulate the immune system. Phase III efficacy trials. Scientists give the vaccine to thousands of people and wait to see how many become infected, compared with volunteers who received a placebo. These trials can determine if the vaccine protects against the coronavirus. Approval. Regulators in each country review the trial results and decide whether to approve the vaccine or not. During a pandemic, a vaccine may receive emergency use authorization before getting formal approval. Warp Speed. The U.S. government's Operation Warp Speed program is expected to name 5 or more vaccine projects to receive billions of dollars in federal funding before there is proof that the vaccines work. We will update the tracker and label the Warp Speed projects when there is an official announcement. Combine phases. Another way to accelerate vaccine development is to combine phases. Some coronavirus vaccines are now in Phase I/II trials, for example, in which they are tested for the first time on hundreds of people. Moderna was the first American company to put a vaccine into human trials. The vaccine uses messenger RNA, mRNA for short, to produce viral proteins. Moderna published promising Phase I results on July 14. Phase III trials are set to begin July 27, and the company hopes to have vaccine doses ready by early 2021. The German company BioNTech has entered into collaborations with Pfizer, based in New York, and the Chinese drug maker Fosun Pharma to develop their mRNA vaccine. On July 1, they announced that all the volunteers for their Phase I/II trial produced antibodies against SARS-CoV-2, while some experienced moderate side effects such as sleep disturbances and sore arms. The company expects to start Phase III trials in July. Based on the results so far, the FDA gave the vaccine Fast Track status on July 13, which speeds up the approval process. If approved, Pfizer said they expect to manufacture up to 100 million doses of the vaccine by the end of this year, and potentially more than 1.2 billion doses by the end of 2021. Indian vaccine maker Zydus Cadila has created a DNA-based vaccine. On July 3, they announced approval to start human trials, becoming the second company in India to enter the COVID-19 vaccine race after Bharat Biotech. On June 30, the Japanese biotechnology company Aegis announced they had started safety trials on a DNA-based vaccine, developed in partnership with Osaka University and Takara Bio. On June 30, the American company Inovio announced they had interim Phase I data on their DNA-based vaccine. They found no serious adverse effects and measured an immune response in 34 out of 36 volunteers. They plan to start Phase I/III trials this summer. On June 30, the American company Inovio announced they had interim Phase I data on their DNA-based vaccine. They found no serious adverse effects and measured an immune response in 34 out of 36 volunteers. They plan to start Phase II/III trials this summer. In March, the Trump administration unsuccessfully tried to entice CureVac to move its research from Germany to the United States. In June, the company launched phase I trials of its mRNA vaccine. The company said its German facility can make hundreds of millions of vaccine doses a year. The Korean company Genexon started testing the safety of a DNA-based vaccine in June. They anticipate moving to phase 2 trials in the fall. In June, Chinese researchers at the Academy of Military Medical Sciences, Suzhou Abogan Biosciences, and Walvax Biotechnology announced they would start their country's first safety trials on a mRNA-based vaccine called RSOV. Earlier studies on monkeys reportedly showed protective effects. The French pharmaceutical company Sanofi is developing an mRNA vaccine in partnership with Translate Bio. On June 23, they announced they were planning phase I trials in the fall. A vaccine in development by the British-Swedish company AstraZeneca and the University of Oxford is based on a chimpanzee adenovirus called ChAdOx1. The vaccine is in a phase 2/3 trial in England and phase 3 trials in Brazil and South Africa. The project may deliver emergency vaccines by October. In June, AstraZeneca said their total manufacturing capacity stands at 2 billion doses. The Chinese company CanSino Biologics developed a vaccine based on an adenovirus called Ad5 in partnership with the Institute of Biology at the country's Academy of Military Medical Sciences. In May, they published promising results from a phase I safety trial. Unpublished data from phase 2 trials demonstrated the vaccine produced a strong immune response, leading the Chinese military to approve it on June 25 for a year as a specially needed drug. CanSino would not say whether vaccination would be mandatory or optional for soldiers. The Gamaleya Research Institute, part of Russia's Ministry of Health, launched a phase 1 trial in June of a vaccine they called GamCovid-Vaclio. It is a combination of two adenoviruses, Ad5 and Ad26, both engineered with the coronavirus gene. In July, the head of the country's sovereign wealth fund told Reuters that phase 3 trials were planned for September, and that Russia would manufacture 30 million doses for domestic use this year, and potentially make another 170 million for use in other countries. Researchers at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center in Boston are testing an adenovirus called Ad26 in monkeys. Johnson & Johnson announced in June that they would start phase 1/2 trials in late July. The Swiss company Novartis will manufacture a vaccine based on a gene therapy treatment developed by the Massachusetts Scientific Hospital. A virus called an adeno-associated virus delivers coronavirus gene fragments into cells. Phase I trials are set to begin in late 2020. The American company Merck announced in May it would develop a vaccine from vesicular stomatitis viruses, the same approach it successfully used to produce the only approved vaccine for Ebola. The company is partnering with IAVI. Merck is also working with Themis Bioscience, an Austrian firm it is acquiring, to develop a second vaccine, which will use the measles virus to carry genetic material into patient cells. VoxRS vaccine is an oral tablet containing an adenovirus that delivers coronavirus genes. They are preparing for phase I trials this summer. In July, the Chinese company Anhui's Hifilongcom began phase 2 trials for a vaccine that is a combination of viral proteins and an adjuvant that stimulates the immune system. The company is part of Shangkang's Hefei Biological Products and has partnered with the Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences. Maryland-based Novavax has developed a way to stick proteins onto microscopic particles. They created vaccines for a number of different diseases using this platform, and their flu vaccine finished phase 3 trials in March. The company launched trials for a COVID-19 vaccine in May, and the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations has invested $384 million in the vaccine. On July 6, Novavax announced a U.S. government award of $1.6 billion to support clinical trials and manufacturing. If the trials succeed, Novavax expects to deliver 100 million doses for use in the United States by the first quarter of 2021. plants in Europe and Asia would be able to satisfy more of the world's demand. Clover Biopharmaceuticals has developed a vaccine containing a protein from coronaviruses to further stimulate the immune system. The vaccine is being given in conjunction with so-called adjuvants made by British drug maker GSK and the American company Dynavox. Investments from CEPI will support the development of manufacturing that could lead to the production of hundreds of millions of doses a year. The Australian company Vaccine launched a phase I trial in July. Their vaccine combines viral proteins with an adjuvant that stimulates immune cells. Canada-based Medicago uses plants to make vaccines. They inject genes into leaves, causing the plant cells to create protein shells that mimic viruses. In July, Medicago launched phase I trials on a plant-based COVID-19 vaccine in combination with adjuvants from drug makers GSK and Dynavox. If the trial goes well, they plan to start phase 2/3 trials in October. A vaccine from Australia's University of Queensland delivers viral proteins altered to draw a stronger immune response. The university launched phase I trials in July, combining the proteins with an adjuvant made by CSL. If the results are positive, CSL will advance late-stage clinical trials and expects to make tens of millions of doses. After the SARS epidemic in 2002, Baylor College of Medicine researchers began developing a vaccine that could prevent a new outbreak. Despite promising early results, support for the research disappeared. Because the coronaviruses that cause SARS and COVID-19 are very similar, the researchers are reviving the project in partnership with the Texas Children's Hospital. A vaccine in development by the University of Pittsburgh, called Pitcovac, is a skin patch tipped with 400 tiny needles made of sugar. When placed on the skin, the needles dissolve and deliver virus proteins into the body. In addition to the mRNA vaccine, Sanofi is developing a vaccine based on viral proteins. They are producing the proteins with engineered viruses that grow inside insect cells. GSK will supplement these proteins with adjuvants that stimulate the immune system. Sanofi has said it could produce at least 600 million doses a year if the vaccine succeeds in trials. After finding that an inactivated virus vaccine was safe and provoked an immune response, the state-owned Chinese company Sinopharm launched phase 3 trials in July in the United Arab Emirates. Abu Dhabi's health minister was the first volunteer to be injected, and 15,000 people were scheduled to participate in total. The private Chinese company Sinovac Biotech is testing an inactivated vaccine called Coronavac. In June, the company announced that phase I/2 trials on 743 volunteers found no severe adverse effects and produced an immune response. Sinovac then launched a phase 3 trial in Brazil in July. The company is also building a facility to manufacture up to 100 million doses annually. Researchers at the Institute of Medical Biology at the Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences, which has invented vaccines for polio and hepatitis A, started a phase 2 trial of an inactivated virus vaccine in June. In collaboration with the Indian Council of Medical Research and the National Institute of Virology, the Indian company Bharat Biotech designed a vaccine called Covaxin. It is an inactivated rabies virus engineered to carry proteins from the coronavirus. Phase 1/2 trials are scheduled to begin this month. The Indian Council of Medical Research reportedly envisions having the vaccine ready for public use on August 15, but this target has been met with skepticism.